writing the first draft of history. Good morning, Brad Mielke.
Little do you know, guys. Little do you know.
Red 18, a winner if you're out there. All right, so the first draft of history, it seems to be him not acknowledging the results as overshadowed everything else from this debate.
Yeah, that really is the story here. When you have a candidate in a Democratic election who says at the end of the day that he might not actually accept the vote totals themselves, that he might not actually call his rival the legitimate president should he lose. That's a big story. That's one of those moments that goes down in debate history, something we've just never heard from somebody in the modern era of presidential debate. So it really was shocking in the moment, and you're seeing that sort of shock play out today as Republicans are going scrambling. I spoke to the spokesman for the GOP, and he said, "Oh, Donald Trump will absolutely accept the results of the election." I asked him, "Why did Donald Trump say that?" And he said, "I don't know. I can't speak for Donald Trump." So you have even Republicans who have been working with Trump himself, sort of struggling to come up with why he is continuing to give this sort of explosive denial that he might accept the results.
Yeah, it's not the liberal spin from MSNBC or you liberals who are following him on the campaign trail. It's conservative after conservative. Even his wife, his daughter, and his vice presidential running mate says he will accept the results. Everyone says it except him.
Yeah, and part of this seems to be a personality thing, right? They are able to say what Donald Trump somehow cannot bring himself to say. The question is, why won't he say that? Is it because he actually doesn't trust the results? And if he doesn't, I mean, he's had surrogates call this pitchfork and torches time. I mean, it really is a serious thing when you talk about a sizable part of the United States perhaps following Donald Trump if in fact he lost, not recognizing Hillary Clinton as the winner of the election. I mean, that's a big deal. We have a foreign correspondent who tells us he's been at normal countries who, it takes one person saying in power saying, "I don't respect the leader we've installed," and things really devolve very quickly. So that's why it's playing out, perhaps even over the heads of some voters, wondering why this is such a big headline.
Brad Mielke, also, he refuses to acknowledge that Russia is behind these hacks, in which it is almost universally understood, even from his vice presidential candidate, that Russia is behind these hacks. He refuses to even acknowledge that.
Yeah, that's right. And so, by the way, that was all started during a conversation about immigration, and Hillary Clinton sort of spun an answer. She basically refused to answer a question about what some have called her open borders policy. She started talking about WikiLeaks. Donald Trump followed her down this path, and eventually they ended up in this conversation about him being a puppet for the Kremlin, in which he said, "No, you're the puppet. You're the puppet." This was a great example of Donald Trump sort of unable to control the substance of the debate the way Hillary Clinton has been so sort of nimble at sidestepping these questions. Donald Trump found himself unable to do so and found himself in this very dark hole when it came to Russia.
Also, can we, excuse me, I know it's not a big issue, but it's sort of is a microcosm of what's going on. No handshake at the beginning. And at the end, Donald Trump stayed at the podium to make sure he didn't cross Hillary Clinton's path to shake her hand again.
And their faces told the story. Hillary Clinton came out with a smile, immediately went up to Chris Wallace, waded into the crowd to shake hands. Donald Trump stayed behind his podium until she was gone, shook Chris Wallace's hand with a stone face, and then stayed up on stage as his family came to him, barely cracked a smile the entire rest of the night, did not come into the spin room. I think he felt the energy in the room shift at that midway point during the debate. We'll see how his team sort of spins it this morning as they all sort of start going on to morning shows and making their morning after case. But a really interesting night for the Trump campaign. I don't know how many minds it changed, but certainly might have solidified opinions for both candidates.
What about Republicans this morning? What's the feeling that are more going to come out and condemn him from this a results comment that has caused so much controversy?
Well, what you have actually is a lot of denial from Republicans last night and this morning. I spoke to the spokesperson for the GOP, for the party itself. I asked him, what's the deal with will Donald Trump accept the results? He said, absolutely, 100% Donald Trump will accept the results of the election. I said, why didn't he say that? And Sean Spicer from the GOP said, I don't know. I don't speak for him. And that is what you're hearing from so many people in Republican quarters today, is that he'll absolutely accept the results, but nobody can get Donald Trump himself to say that.
Pretty extraordinary times. Brad Mielke, ABC News correspondent in Vegas, who, if ABC corporate's listening, he was not at the casinos at all last night.
He was working very hard.
He was at the Britney Spears relaunch concert in Vegas. Brad, have a good week. Thanks for checking in.